I believe everybody wants to learn and everybody wants to grow. I believe that. And if you ask people, what do you believe is in the way of your learning and your growing? If we're honest, we're going to say it's me. I simultaneously want to learn and grow, and I have to admit I'm in the way of learning and growing. It's a little absurd that we're all in the same boat. And this does seem to be a universal thing. And so we have to forgive ourselves, and we have to be strategic to put ourselves in the right places with the right people in the right situations where we can learn and grow and we can get past ourselves. Because I have my version of this just like everybody else.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you guys all for being here and sharing such incredible experiences. You've helped me immensely, if you don't know. So, Tommy, when I was looking through my notes from our trip to England, some things came up for me. Throughout my journey of recovery, I realized, although I've been sober for 2 years, I haven't been able to maintain my emotional sobriety. And in December of this year, I really felt that. I was feeling physically ill. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was angry at a lot of things, and I realized I needed to forgive myself for those things in order to be able to grow. I started to having to like who I was. The past doesn't define me. So I started practicing daily affirmations, doing my gratitude list in the morning before I get out of bed, saying I love you to myself in the mirror. And all of these things kind of brought up a little bit of resistance for me. And I remember you saying when we were in England that you have to practice resistance in order to be able to push through those things and become stronger. So that's what I'm doing. But my question for you is, what do you practice? What do you bring up for yourself that causes resistance and makes you able to push through those things and become stronger? And also, what do you implement as a daily practice other than sadhana to burn off karma? And how do you live in love every day?
Wow. Well, this is going to be Tommy Rosen focused. Wasn't ready for that. Okay. Better get ready for that. Thank you, Perry, for this inquiry. Okay. So good. We'll explore. People learn in different ways, and people have different personalities which influence and dictate what the best ways are for people to learn. For me, I have always learned through relatively short immersive experiences, immersions. So when I take on a practice, it won't necessarily be, okay, I'm doing a practice for 90 days. And I'm just going to do that like for a part of a day. For me, I make the biggest leaps and bounds in my spiritual work, my personal development, in my life work. I make the biggest leaps and bounds forward through immersion. Now, immersion means, for me, it means all day for a period of days. So going on retreat for me is unbelievably valuable. And also me leading retreats is unbelievably valuable. They're different, but they're both valuable for me. I learned so much leading or attending other people's retreats, and I make leaps and bounds in that way. So my job is to overcome the resistance to putting myself into these immersive experiences, first of all. Yoga training has always been, first of all, enjoyable. I love it. I love the physicality of it. So I love to train my body. And again, I may not be the most consistent day in and day out on a mini practice, but if you put me through a challenge, like for 30 days, okay, for 30 days, you're going to go to the gym every other day. And on the days off, you're going to ride the bike or do some cardio or whatever it is. Like, I'll make leaps and bounds of progress in that 30 days. Or if I'll do, for example, my 200-hour yoga teacher training, I'll take a yoga teacher training from a great teacher any day. It doesn't matter that I've done it before. I just like the intensity and I like the immersion of it. And I love like what happens to my mind and body when I practice regularly. And I don't mean just regularly, like I'm going to do a 1 hour sadhana practice in the morning. I'm talking about 3, 4, 5 hours of yoga a day with 3, 4, 5 hours of lecture and presentation and just total immersion. Like, my mind and body love that so much. So that's one part of the answer to your question is for me. And you know, some people could say, wow, that's such an addictive, such an all or nothing approach. And I'm like, well, I understand myself and what really works for me. I'll give you another example on these lines. I love to go to the gym. I love to move. I love to push weight around. I'm not a bodybuilder, but I just like the feeling of a good workout. It feels great in my mind and great in my body. But you know what I have not been good at doing? Getting myself to the gym. I'm really not good at doing it. And for a number of years, I really felt badly or poorly about myself. Like, wow, Tommy, why are you not going to the gym? You know how good it makes you feel. And for whatever reason, whatever the block might be there, rare have been the occasions where I've really been able to immerse myself in the gym by myself. But if I have a workout partner or I have a trainer waiting for me at the gym, I will never miss it. And so that's an important thing for me to realize, like, in the setup of what makes me successful. Now, for me, success does not translate as I became disciplined to go to the gym by myself. Success at this point is just get to the gym. By whatever means necessary, get to the gym because it's a great thing for you. So for me to use the strategy of, hey, call up a friend and do it together with them, you'll get there. Or pay the money and have somebody train me for a little while. Always when someone's training you, they'll push you a little harder than you'd push yourself anyway. So that's also, I have to overcome the resistance of going to the gym when there's a trainer waiting for me because they're going to kick my butt and I know it. And I never have minded when it's done, but I always mind before I go. And so that's my resistance coming up to the thing that I know is going to be good for me. I've proven this thousands of times. What could be wrong with me in my mind that I don't just get there and do it? I don't know, and I'm not worried about answering that question. If I can use money in that way or call up a friend and work out with them for a month in that way, those are good strategies to help someone like me overcome my resistance and start to get some momentum. Now, there have been periods of time in my life when I got momentum going to the gym or getting onto the yoga mat where I was able to follow through on that momentum for many, many, many months in a row by myself. So it's not like I cannot never do it, but I really require an immersion and a kickstart and getting momentum, and I really need to know what I'm doing. If I don't know what my routine is, or I don't know what my yoga practice is going to be, my mind uses it against me and it prevents me from getting there. So the more clear I am, I'm just being honest. I mean, these are my processes. The more honest I am and the more clear I am about what I'm about to do and why I'm about to do it, that greatly increases the likelihood of me making it there. Now with sadhana practice, oh my God, I've missed so many days of sadhana in my life. You have no idea. So many days, you have no idea. And I tell people all the time, I missed so many days of this, but I've also done so many days. I've done so many thousands of days, and I've missed so many days. And what really helps me with sadhana and get onto tears with this are to do short, focused sadhana practices that achieve the thing I'm there in sadhana for quickly. What am I there in sadhana for? Connecting with me. All I need to do in sadhana for me to feel this was a successful sadhana practice, I need to do a little breath work, a little tiny bit of movement, just get energy moving through the spine, a little breath to start to calm the mind, and then go into a meditative state for, say, 20 minutes. The whole thing could take 30 minutes. That's all I ever need to do. And I'm there. And when I get up from that, I know I did the thing I had to do. And I cultivated that relationship with myself, and I feel great and centered. And that's all I need. Now, I might do bigger sadhanas. And there'll be periods of time where I take on a sadhana because I'm going to do this for 30 days or 40 days or 90 days or whatever it is. So those are some of the things that I do. In terms of other kinds of practices, every now and then, every year, but maybe once or twice a year, I am going to get involved in some major change in my diet. No question. And my relationship with food is one of the places I take on practices that bring up my resistance, for sure. It could be as simple, not easy, but simple as letting go of caffeine. So I drink black tea. I love black tea. I really love it. And I don't love to let it go. But I go through periods of time where I let it go. And I want to have the experience of letting it go. And then I want to have the experience of being without it for whatever period of time. So last year I did that for 1 month, maybe 6 weeks. I started out with a 5-day water fast, my first water fast ever last year. And so I went through 5 days, no water. I mean, no food, just water only, under the supervision of a naturopathic physician who was watching me and making sure I was good to go each day. And I went through that process, and then I carried it into not doing caffeine for a little while. Other types of things might be, I'm going to go on a liquid feast diet for a little while where I'm just drinking and eating liquid foods. That could be soups, juices, smoothies. And I'm letting go of the heavier foods, whether that's eggs or cheeses or any breads or pasta or stuff, that just getting rid of anything heavy in my diet so that my body can clear itself out and create a new microbiome in the process, get rid of all the old cells that no longer serve me. And the body is supremely incredible at doing this. So for my relationship with food, I like to change it at different times in different ways. And there's no science to this for me in the sense of, I should say there's no religion to this for me, would be a better way of putting it, meaning there's no dogma. Sometimes, in my life, I've been raw vegan at periods of time, or I've been vegan, or I've been vegetarian. It changes, it shifts. Sometimes you can go on a mono diet. Sometimes I'll do this wonderful cleanse called the 3-day colon cleanse. It's 3 days, and you drink these powders, and it's very, very supportive. And you don't eat anything, and it cleans out your entire digestive system, and you really let go of so much. And it's an incredible thing to have that experience. And yes, when you change your diet and change your relationship with food, you better believe that resistance is coming. It's coming. And, especially, people who drink a lot of caffeine. Like when you say, hey, have you thought about letting go of, and they're like, before you even say caffeine, the hands are up. Like, don't say it. Don't use the C word here and tell me to let go of my beloved caffeine, because, I'm not going to do it. But these are all, of course, wonderful things. Relationship with food is such a great place to switch things up, and the seasons also dictate change of diet. When it's very, very hot outside, it's really true generally that you don't need to eat as much as when it's very cold out. You need a little bit more different kinds of foods that nourish you and warm the body. So lots of things to think about around food. Then there's like relationship, this is going to be an interesting thing to say, but I hope people take this and understand this in the right light. To be in a long-term relationship with another human being is joyful and challenging. That will bring up a person's resistance. In most cases, if a person is honest, at some point in their relationship, they're experiencing resistance. You go through periods of struggle or difficulty, or you feel disconnection. So naturally, just committing to being in partnership with somebody consciously, being willing to communicate honestly, respectfully, with dignity, and with love and care, just that commitment is going to bring up a person's resistance. And this is where we have to, more deeply as a society, understand the benefits of partnership, and why somebody would commit to this. You commit to it because there's great, tremendous benefit to it for you and for each other. Otherwise, oh my God, why bother doing it? There's love and there's support and there's things that become possible for you that couldn't have been possible otherwise. And that's how I feel about this partnership. So the joy and connection and love also challenge. There's things that you have to do, that horrible, awful, terrible things you have to do in a relationship, like compromise. Oh my God, you have to compromise. Imagine that. Guess what part of my being doesn't like compromise? It begins with E, it ends with O, and it has a G in the middle. Can you guess what it is? Yeah, that's right. Ego. So by being in partnership with another human being, I'm going to have to face myself. Me facing the aspects of myself that are argumentative or stubborn or based in the past or triggered by, stuff that wasn't even mine. It's challenging. It's not hard for anyone to understand why somebody would want to just take the escape route and leave a relationship. I totally get it. And yet, what a great practice. What a great, incredible practice to be in. And all that it brings up and the lessons. And I'm not, I love it. And I'm not somebody who's dogmatic and think, everybody should be partnered. I definitely don't think that. I think there are people who absolutely will learn what they need to learn by being single. And that's important for them. And each individual needs space and freedom to make these decisions for themselves. Let's see. So that's relationship. We talked a little bit about body and practices, physical practices. We talked about food. And then let's talk about the greater sort of purpose of life and resistance that comes up there. I'm interested in, when people might ask me, Tommy, what's your mission? And they think I'm going to say, my mission is to help people overcome addiction. Like many, many people think that's my personal mission. And while I love the idea of anybody overcoming addiction, I love it so much, and that's exciting for me. There's a deeper truth to what my mission actually is, and it has to do with everything that I am: my ego, my personality, my habits, all of my conditioned behavior, my individualized self, my spirit, my heart. My personal mission is to push boundary. I'm supposed to push. I'm supposed to help people move, and myself included, move beyond self-imposed or culturally imposed limitation. That's my mission. And addiction is a great place for me to go to work in that mission, because with addiction, you have all of these misunderstandings that people develop, whether they're their own misunderstandings or they were misunderstandings hoisted upon them by their family or by culture. And I, for some reason, am really good at seeing it and helping people to move beyond that limitation for themselves. When someone says, I'm no good, I want to push back on that and say, well, I'd like to understand why you think that. Where's your reasoning there? I don't belong here. I'm not lovable. Okay, let's look at that. Or I could never be good at that. Or I'll never be able to do this or that. I'll never overcome this. Oh, you know that once you're an addict, you're always an addict. Now, someone like me loves to dive into that. Oh my God, that's all you have to say if you want to get a rise out of me. Well, this is just the way it is. This is just the way it is, This is just how I am. Oh, really? Good. Sit down. Better yet, get on the yoga mat in front of me and give me 15 minutes of your time so I can kick your ass out of that misunderstanding. So that's my mission. So my mission in the world is help people to overcome misunderstanding, move beyond their own limitations or someone else's limitations for them. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like other people being told what to do either. When I see somebody who's been told what to do and it's not authentic for them, it offends me like it was done to me. That's my personality, and I have to be careful not to get myself in trouble, butt my nose in somebody else's business. But if they ask me, or if I'm coaching them, or if they show up on retreat with me, we're going to dig deep into this, and we're going to get into some practices that go underneath that kind of thinking. And Perry, you were with me in England, and so like we had a full body, full mind, full spirit experience, and that helps us to move beyond some of our misunderstandings, like what you were describing, that you had gotten off track and then you were starting to do these practices of gratitude and all these different things that have been helpful. So that's my mission. And so in doing that mission, sometimes the resistance comes up because I have to deal with aspects of society that are difficult for me, that are hard for me, that I don't appreciate. And that comes up all the time. And I have to, as a member of the society, I have to navigate it the best that I can and not get too caught up in other people's opinions or their way of seeing things. I'll tell you, just all cards on the table, here's something that really upsets me. I'll give you an example. I was at a music festival recently. And at this music festival, my dear friend, my sidekick, and my brother, DJ, who is filming this very thing right now, he lost the keys to our rent-a-car. Now, this is at a music festival. So now that's not what upsets me. That doesn't upset me because I've done it 1,000 times myself. But there we were. And DJ had to leave the car in the parking lot of the music festival because he didn't have the keys to drive it away. And so they understood and they said, okay, we won't tow your car. Leave it here overnight and we'll do our best overnight and we'll do a whole sweep of the grounds and hopefully we'll find your keys. Well, by the morning, they hadn't found the keys. We hadn't found the keys. And so by this point, the parking lot had filled up again. And we were now driving my other friend's car to the festival. And there was DJ's car, our rent-a-car, sitting where it was the night before, where we left it. And right in front of the car was an open parking space. And I said to the attendant, the parking person there, I said, hey, we're the guys who lost the keys. And they're like, oh yeah, we know about you guys. The car's right over there. And I'm like, would you mind terribly if we park this car in that parking spot right in front of that car? So that when the tow truck comes, we'll be able to move our car and the tow truck can come right in. And we'll also be close to our car, in case we find the keys. And they said, no, you can't do that. I said, well, what do you want us to do? They're like, you have to go all the way to the end of the parking lot, all the way to the end like everybody else. And I'm like, Why? Like, this is one of those things, right? I'm pushing. Why? What's the reason? They're like, because you have to. That's why. Because that's our policy. Because that's just the way it is. And I said, look, I'm not trying to give you a hard time. It would just be so helpful if we could be close to the car that we have had to leave here. And so the long story short is they couldn't come up with a reason why we couldn't park there. This person just didn't want me to. And it was policy. And so we were going to have to drive to the very end. And I was really upset. Like, really? Like, you want to see a yoga teacher become unglued? Then say something to me like, sorry, it's just the way it is, without giving me a reason and why it's the way it is. So this person's supervisor came and I said, sir, can I speak to you for a moment? And I explained the situation to him. I said, I'm just trying to park right there in that open spot. It's not in anybody's way. He's like, of course you can park there. Go ahead. And I was like, oh, thank God. There's some reason in the world. There's some logic in the world. My point is that a big deal? No. But that's the kind of thing where I come into a little bit of trouble and I lose my balance and I lose my equanimity in the world. Now you all know me a lot better. And that's a place where I really struggle. If you say to me, someone else needs to park there, or here's the reason why we need to keep that space open, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks for explaining it to me. But if you just say, nope, don't want you to be there, too bad, there's no reason, but you just can't do it. For someone like me, with my personality and my personal mission, that's going to be a challenge. So this is where some of the resistance comes up for me in society, is I'm out trying to navigate time and space and try not to upset people and try to do it well. So, all right, Perry, you've exposed all of my things with this inquiry. What else have you to say as you hear me explore this?
It gives me a better understanding of the resistance that comes up and the resistance that I can push through. So, just like you said about yoga, there is resistance there for me. The gym has always been hard for me as well. I don't appreciate the gym. So lately I've been doing yoga classes, which was a little bit of resistance at first, going somewhere, not doing it in the safety and comfort of my own home. But I made it, and it's been amazing. I realized that some of the things that bring up resistance for me end up being the things that I needed or enjoy the most.
Wonderful. I mean, every one of us, essentially, I believe everybody wants to learn and everybody wants to grow. I believe that. And if you ask people, what do you believe is in the way of your learning and your growing? If we're honest, yeah, right. If we're honest, we're going to say it's me. I simultaneously want to learn and grow, and I have to admit I'm in the way of learning and growing. So isn't it? It's fun and funny, and it's a little absurd that we're all in the same boat, and this does seem to be a universal thing. And so we have to forgive ourselves, and we have to be strategic to put ourselves in the right places with the right people in the right situations where we can learn and grow and we can get past ourselves. Because I have my version of this just like everybody else. And as I said, I get strategic to get myself to do something. And for me, it helps to have a partner in crime. It helps to have a sadhana partner. It helps to have a coach waiting for me in the gym, and it helps just to, it also, by the way, it just helps for me to be married to Kia, who says things to me like, we're going out to a yoga class now. That's what we're doing. And I'm like, okay. So thank you so much, Perry, for this beautiful inquiry and for your interest in this. And I hope in sharing some of those personal stories that it's helpful for anybody listening.